There we go. If you go to our course page, you'll probably notice that most of our basic information is there. Please do read through the course syllabus, the course expectations, and also my contact information is on the board as well. So you'll notice there's several phone numbers there for me. I've got a Facebook page. I use Pinterest. I love Pinterest. You're welcome to text me, call me, email me if you have any questions. I'm actually only on campus. You do? Well, great, Felicia. I found another Pinterest addict. Good. So I'm actually only on campus at CCC Tuesdays from 9:30 to 5 o'clock. The rest of the time I'm an online instructor. And I'm actually the ECE, which is Early Childhood Education Department Head. A little different from business, but I have a lot of background in business. And from time to time, Katie Barnett, the department head, asked me to act as an adjunct instructor, so that's why I'm here today. I do have a passion for it. I did study fashion merchandising in a past life, and I've had so many different jobs through my life where I've used cells, so I hope that we can learn a little bit from each other in this class. Let me turn my sound up just a little bit to make sure I'm reaching you. Okay, so our next slide, guys, I like to start off with a quick announcement each time. First of all, welcome. Read through the course information as soon as possible. I want to kind of highlight our due dates for this course because it will be different course to course depending on your instructor. For us, we have it down to basically 2 due dates during the week. On Tuesday of each week, you have an assignment and a discussion board posting you'll need to put up. And on Saturday, most everything else is due. Replying to 2 fellow classmates in the discussion board is required by Saturday. You have 2 quizzes in this class that you'll take in week 1 and week 2. Please have those done by Saturday at midnight. And let me think, what else is there? If you missed the lecture, you'll need to have that summary turned in by Saturday at midnight as well. So 2 basic days to focus on, and then Wednesdays at 1 o'clock are our live lectures, and of course you're here so you know that. For those of you that couldn't make it, that's fine too. I just want you to be sure and watch the recording so that you can get all the information that we covered. And lastly, on our announcements, be sure and pay attention to the calendar because, as you know, you've been in a few classes before. You know that class really moves fast. It seems like we just get started in week 1, we get settled in week 2, and then by 3 and 4, it's just almost over. I sent you guys a calendar in the email. Let me know if you did not get that. I'll be sure and get you a copy. Sometimes I can have different email addresses that are listed on my course connection as opposed to the one you actually use. So if you did not get the welcome email and the calendar in the email, be sure and let me know. That calendar is a great thing to follow. All the due dates are on there, all the assignments, and you can mark them off as you go along so that you know you've got everything covered. So let me know if you didn't get that. And next, I always like to start my classes with beginning with the end in mind. A great quote by Stephen Covey. And Dr. Kirk, our president, really pushes this as well. So we've got 4 weeks to go. Therefore, you've got 4 weeks to work on this final project. They've sort of rearranged it this time so that you have fewer regular assignments each week. The reason being is we want you to focus on one section of this final project each week instead. So instead of waiting until week 4 and getting it done all at one time in one night, like a crazy mad person. We want you to break it down into baby steps. And this final project has 4 sections. So if you start this week on the week 1 section, no, you do not have to turn in each section each week. That's the thing, Felicia. We kind of keep it up to you to be on top of this and get each section moving along. You won't actually turn anything in until week 4 when you turn in the whole kit and caboodle. So yeah, got it. Okay, cool. Because I don't know, so sometimes these things don't work on a time frame. If you're like me, sometimes you have to sort of digest a project and think about it, and ideas come to you. Sometimes it's not by Saturday at midnight. Sometimes it takes a few weeks on something. So just like anything we do in business, it's great to have that flexibility. So on our final project, you are going to build a comprehensive project using skills that you learn each week. So focus on that, guys. Each week, the skill that you'll be learning is the part of that project that you will be developing. So it's a great idea to do that as well within the same week because it's still fresh on your mind. That information is there. And here is how we're going to do it in week 1. Now, you'll notice it's broke down into, it's worth 25 points each week for a total of 100 at the end. Week 1, we want you to assume the role of a professional sales associate, selling a product of your choice. And I've already had a few emails about that. You get to pick your product or service. You get to choose that. Yes, it can be made up. Yes, it can be something invented, or it can be something that's already out there. That's fine as well. So you're going to select your product, describe it in detail, lots of detail here. I want to be able to picture it in my mind. Define your target audience for the product. Who are you selling to? And I know many of you have already had past business classes. Could you, in fact, everyone just raise your hand at the moment if you've already had marketing? I think most of you had. Felicia, you have? And Chris has. Okay. Okay, so, oh, and Blanca has as well. Fantastic, fantastic. Okay. Also Gal. Oh, great. And who was there maybe one more person that has not? Okay, so if you've had marketing, actually, a lot of this is going to be fairly familiar to you. And you may have picked up bits and pieces in other classes as well. So it will be sort of a walkthrough of things that you've covered, as well as new information from our brand new professional sales book, which I kind of love. So professional sales, define your target audience. Next, let me get my pointer out here because I need to point to things. I'll use my smiley face. Define your approach in detail, choosing from one or more of the following: stimulus response selling, mental state selling, need satisfaction selling, problem-solving selling, or consultative selling. All of these are addressed in your book in week 1. So you're going to choose your approach. Next, you're going to define your category of buyer. Describe what your buyer's needs are. What are they looking for? What do they need? What category or categories do your buyer's needs fall into, again, from your textbook? And describe the must-haves and delighters of your project, of your product. What's amazing about it? What is really going to turn people on? What are the delighters of your product? So this is what you're to focus on in week 1. It's going to sound kind of strange if you haven't already read your chapter. So be sure and do that. Go over the PowerPoints, and then you're going to have some aha moments where this begins to fall in place and make sense. So if you want to, for this week 1, you want to maybe wait till the end of the week until you've done your quiz, you've read your book, you've done your discussion board posting, so that it really makes a lot more sense. So any questions on week 1? What you're going to be doing? You're going to have your discussion board post, you're going to have your quiz, and you're going to work on this section for your final project. Okay, real quick, week 2, just a quick overview. We will go back to this each week in our live lectures, however, because I want you to feel very comfortable with this. Week 2, develop a strategic prospecting plan in which you outline your prospecting methods and sources. So you're going to develop a written sales proposal, including an executive summary. Some of you guys have written this before. Customer needs and proposed solutions, a seller profile, pricing for your product and sales agreement, suggested action, and timetable. So we'll be doing that in week 2. And again, it will go along with the content we follow and cover in week 2. In week 3, you're going to describe one of each for your product, an example, an anecdote, a comparison, and an analogy. You're also going to develop a sales ad for your product and look in the textbook for examples, so you get a little creative here. I think for developing this project, your best go would be to use PowerPoint or Google Slides, so that you have this freedom when you get down to developing your sales ad for working on that. Also, list 5 common or expected objections to your product. So why might people not like your product? You need to be able to see both sides in sales. Which type of objection do you anticipate the most? Which type of objection do you anticipate the least? Which techniques will you use to earn commitment, to get those people to buy your product? Are there any techniques that you will avoid? Which techniques will you avoid, and why will you avoid them? So like I said, in many of our business classes, you know, we try to look at both sides. We try to balance it to get the best answer. So that's in week 3. And lastly, in week 4, how will you enhance your relationship with your customers? What activities will you use to enhance customer satisfaction? And imagine that you have been promoted to sales trainer at your company. Describe the sales training process that you will lead your employees through. We need some details on that final one. And as a last note, this assignment is worth 100 points. Plagiarism is not tolerated. And do you see now why we have it broken down into a little chunk for each week? Because if you were to look at this as your final project, you might find it a little overwhelming, right? There's a lot of details. There's lots of questions to think about. There's lots of things to develop. So please do this 1 week at a time. There's Chris, eyes bugging out of the head. Exactly. Love the smileys, guys. Thank you. Thank you. So, so do this. I always describe it as eating the elephant 1 bite at a time. You could even do 1 little bitty section a day if you wanted. Maybe it would take you 10 minutes, but if you wait to the last minute, this is going to be hours and hours of work. So take your time, focus on it, and email me if you have any questions, okay? All right, we have just a little bit to go over for Chapter 1 this week. Just a quick overview of selling to get you into the right mindset of what we'll be doing over the next 4 weeks, to try to wrap your head around what's going on here. Just a couple brief slides. Personal selling defined, bear with me. An important part of marketing that relies heavily on interpersonal interactions between buyers and sellers to initiate, develop, enhance customer relations. Next one, and then we're going to go back and talk about these. A trust-based relationship in selling requires that salespersons earn customer trust and that their selling strategies meet customer needs and contributions to the creation, communication, and delivery of customer value. So we're talking about selling, definitely. We were talking about relationship building. We're talking about brand building. And I want you to think just for a moment about our final project. And I also want you to think about what you're going to do when you graduate. I know most of you are business majors, correct? Business admin. And chances are you're going to be selling something, right? You're going to be selling something. Whether or not you're the front man doing that or the person behind the scenes, this is your main goal, selling something to make money. So let me get my handy-dandy writing tool out here. And you guys give me some ideas. What will you be selling? What do you picture yourself selling in the future? Selling education, consultation services, hair products, fantastic. What else? Media design, awesome. On the side, that's going to be your extra money job, huh? We all have to have one or two or three, exactly. Okay, so this is some of the things, these are some of the things you're going to be selling. That's right, Felicia. We do what it takes, right? Let me go back up to Chris. What are you going to do with education? Tell me what you'll be selling in the education field. CCC, OTC, and Clary, that's right. Amen, right? That's that's the business we're in. And, you know, people don't really think of selling education, but we do. Wherever we teach, we're a representative. Whatever type of teaching we're doing, whether it's online, whether it's on-site, we are selling our brand. We're representing it by how we look, by how we speak, by what we do. And that really goes over into every area of business, doesn't it? You know, I think it was it Felicia that said hair products? Oh, Katie. Katie's selling hair products, exactly. Again, you're building a relationship with a customer. You're talking about your product. You're buying over that customer. Exactly. And in marketing, everything that we do, everything that we present is us. And it's very important that we cover all aspects of that in our selling. So I think back to my previous jobs in life in general. My first job was Pizza Hut. Anybody else have a Pizza Hut first job? What was I selling? Pizza. But I did a good Sonic. Oh, I worked at Sonic too. Captain D's, Whataburger. See, you guys, we're representing for for the fast food industry. You were selling a product. You needed to look good, you needed to smell good, you needed to sound good to sell your product so that people would buy from you. They're hungry, but they will make exceptions. So I've sold pizza. I've worked in a tamale factory and sold tamales on the side in supermarkets. It was fantastic. Good tamales. Also, that was one of those college jobs. I worked in the tag office. in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Was I selling a product? No, not necessarily, but I did have to be nice to my customers. I had to try to help them out of their tax jams, out of their tag jams, out of their driver's license issues. I was selling the Oklahoma Tax Commission brand. So, and whatever you're doing, yeah, you're representing your service, your brand. That's right. So next, our customer value. Our customers are very important. Our customers' perception of what they get for what they have to give up. In most incidences, our customers are giving up their money. So they want to get something good for their money. That's right. Let's talk a little bit about sales dialogue, because not everyone wants to be a salesperson, but it's a great thing to be able to act as one whenever necessary, when the need arises. Sales dialogue, over here on the left-hand side. Sorry, I've got a window that's not wanting to work for me here. Let me get my pointer out again. Maybe it'll get rid of it. There we go. Okay, our sales dialogue is the business conversation between buyers and sellers that occurs as salespeople attempt to initiate, develop, and enhance customer service relationships at all levels. So why is it important that we can talk to our customers? Well, allows for more thorough qualifying so that they'll believe in us, demonstrates sincere interest in the prospective customer, helps determine prospective customers' unique needs. Conversation is so important, and we all have friends or maybe family members that just really aren't comfortable in this area, right? I remember having a student in high school. I used to teach high school home economics. And I had a student that was really super shy, which is so normal in high school, and I used to be shy as well, so I totally connected with her. She had, we had an assignment that they had to do. They had to get up in front of the class one time a week, pull a random topic out of a little cup that I had on my desk, and they needed to talk about this one item, and they were very easy topics. They only had to talk for 1 to 2 minutes, so it was really pretty low stress for a high school student, but I wanted them to get comfortable with being in front of people, with talking to people, because I think it's so important in business. I wanted to try to bring her out of that shell, and I thought, well, this will be great. We'll get her talking for 1 to 2 minutes once a week, right? I never could get her to do it. She was so afraid. She went from having an A in the class down to a B because she could not tackle this thing in her life of being shy. So have I ever reconnected with her as an adult? Not yet, but I hope to hear that she was able to do that. You're going to do better in life in general if you can have these conversations, if you can talk to your customers comfortably, and if you can talk in front of people. Exactly, exactly. So we also want to, with our sales dialogue, ensure meaningful presentation of value-added solutions, promote open communication, and how do you get rid of fear? Blanca, you have to practice. I can say there's no other way to get over it other than by practicing it. Talking to people. Maybe a first step is just talking to a stranger. No creepy strangers, okay, Blanca? Just okay, but stepping it up one step at a time, maybe talking to one person, then going to being comfortable with 2, and then maybe even, okay, I'm inviting people to my house. One of the first presentations I ever had to give was for a college teaching class, and I invited people over to my apartment at the time to tie-dye t-shirts. It was a very loose environment. They brought their t-shirts. I taught them how to do it first, and then we tie-dyed our t-shirts, but it was so much fun. And it helped me. It definitely did. What does Katie say? Katie, I was at Matrix event and I had to present a new product. Oh my goodness. A new technology in a product to people who had been in the industry. No pressure, right? Other people had to present also, and one of the girls started crying, and another's voice was so shaky the team lead made her stop talking. Oh my goodness, I can totally picture that too. I really can. I can almost feel it. So Katie, how did you do? Did you do okay with the presentation? Or maybe, you know, sometimes it helps talking after someone who hasn't done so well. Right, exactly, Felicia, you got it. Really? So, okay, great, Katie. So you feel like you did pretty good too. Well, great. Because you're one of the most shy people. Here's the thing. But you learn to overcome the fear. That's right. That's right. Here's the thing. Whenever I was in graduate college at NSU in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I had a professor that kind of described this to me. He said, you know, when you're teaching, you're not just somebody up there talking, and this would go along with business as well. When you're presenting, you're not just telling people things. Think of yourself as an actor or an actress, and you're on stage. You're entertaining them, you're getting their attention, you're passing along this information. And if you're a shy person, you can kind of turn that into an advantage by going, okay, I'm just having to do this for a little bit. I'm acting. I can act like I'm confident. I can act like I really know what I'm talking about here. You can kind of trick yourself into overcoming that fear. That's right, Katie, and it's a big thing to overcome, but it's definitely something that can hold you back. So break free of that. It's very important. And like I said, just start with the baby steps of communicating when you need to, when you can, getting in front of people in small groups, and then working up to those larger groups that you'll eventually get there. Okay, a little bit about the evolution of personal selling. Think back in history a little bit, guys. In the 1800s, the Industrial Revolution, we had peddlers that went door to door selling their products. This was really the only way that people could get products. We really didn't have big stores. Of course, we didn't have department stores. We didn't have TV, radio, internet. To actually reach your customer, you had to physically go out there, talk to them at their home usually or their business, and try to sell your product. Post-Industrial Revolution, we had a few business organizations and we started employing salespeople. In the 1900s, the selling function became a little more structured. We started to develop more technology-wise. And then the 2000s, in our modern area, we've got this selling function that's become a lot more professional, a lot more studied. We find out the best methods out there. And with social media and with the internet, sales just continues to boom and grow into boundaries, bust boundaries that we thought were there, and into areas that you never pictured yourself being. For instance, if I go back to the 1990s when I was working on my bachelor's degree, I would never have pictured myself being an online teacher. There really wasn't such a thing then. We didn't have this ability to talk to our students through the internet, to do video. We could maybe talk to them through emails, but it was very slow then. So you change as the need arrives. The evolution of personal selling, we've gone from a reliance on a canned sales presentation, and you know when you're getting one of those and it's uncomfortable, isn't it? You really, oh, I don't want to hear it. Sales presentations that include maybe a scripted sales call, and we still get those as well on our cell phones. You know when you're being read to. Memorized presentations and automated presentations. So we're moving away from that. So the greater focus now is on sales professionalism, a customer-oriented approach because we know the customer is the most important thing. Non-manipulative tactics, we're not tricking you into it. We want to satisfy long-term needs for both the customer, and we also have long-term needs to hang on to that customer in the selling firm for the long run, right? We want to hold on to those loyal customers. So how do we contribute our personal selling? How do salespeople contribute to society first? And these are things you may not have thought of before, but they completely make sense. Salespeople help stimulate the economy, right? We want those sales. We want that money turnover. Salespeople help with the diffusion of innovation. Also, how do salespeople and the employing firm contribute? Well, salespeople generate revenue for that firm. Salespeople provide market research and customer feedback for that firm. They're really an invaluable resource. Salespeople become future leaders in that organization as they move up. And oftentimes, you know, that's the goal if you're working for a larger business, is that moving up. And lastly, the contribution of personal selling from the salespeople to the customer, because there's this connection as well. Salespeople provide solutions to problems. They talk to the customer about what's going on. They talk to them about how we can overcome this, maybe changes that could be made. Salespeople provide expertise and serve as information resources. We're really the educators is what it comes down to. You're educating the customer, passing along all the information that you've learned. I even think about when somebody comes to my house for a sales call. Uh-oh, I froze up there for a minute. When somebody comes to my house, for instance, we live in the country and we have to have propane delivered to our house for heating and for cooking. So the propane guy comes out with a big propane truck and backs it up to our propane tank, and he tells me about where the propane came from, how they move it around the country, how sales fluctuate. You know, I learn so much from every person that I meet. So is he just a propane delivery guy? No, he's actually passing along information as well. And someday I'll show you just how crazy my little farm is, because I live on the country, live in the country with chickens, goats, mini pigs, and what else? Ducks. We have lots of critters on the farm. We have a good time. Yes, I have 2 mini pigs, a boy and a girl, and possibly in June we might have mini pig babies. We'll see. I'm sorry you guys won't be around in June to see that. Names, oh, Hamilton and Dottie. And they are sweeties. I know how to get you now. You need to bring your toddler to my farm. Exactly, Chris. It's kind of like a petting zoo. It is. And lastly, salespeople serve as advocates for the customer when dealing with the selling organization. So you guys, you get the idea of why we're here, what we're doing, that we're all salespeople really, no matter what we're doing, if it's a product or a service. So lastly, this is our last thing to do in class until we get down to my questions slide. Let's look real briefly, and we'll try to do this each week, at an ethical dilemma. I don't know if you guys can read this if you're on a mobile device, so I'm going to read it to you. If you're on a computer, you can probably see it just fine. The ethical dilemma. Rachel Duke sells advertising for her college newspaper. One of her potential clients is contemplating buying an ad for an upcoming special issue featuring bars and restaurants. Over the past 2 weeks, Duke has tried unsuccessfully to get a commitment from the restaurant owner to place an ad. So they're interested in it, but they just can't get it in writing. Her sales manager has suggested that Rachel call the prospect and tell him that there's only one remaining ad space in the special issue, and that she must have an immediate answer to ensure the prospect's ad will appear in the special issue. The sales manager said, Rachel, this guy is stalling. You've got to move him into action, and this technique will do the trick. Duke was troubled by her manager's advice because the special issue had plenty of ad space remaining. So, if you were Duke, would you follow her sales manager's advice? And tell me why or why not too. So Katie, you wouldn't. Why would you not be okay with this? Because you don't lie, period. I kind of feel that, I do. So would you feel like this was sort of like telling a lie? Because you are. There's still ads available out there. And Felicia, you feel the same way? Yes. I'm kind of getting dittos from everybody then, right? Blanca, Chris, I'm interested to see what you have to say, and Katie too, because they're typing a little bit longer. Eesh. I would call, but I don't think I would be as bold to lie. I think it would be turned to be a little less pushly. Yeah, I agree too, Chris. I think there might be another option there without, oh, I love it when the screen freezes up when I have a stupid look on my face. I agree. I don't think I could cross that line. And Katie, I think you could use tact and still get a yes or no answer, right? Chris, there you go. Sell the fact that the space is limited. Sell the fact that this is a special issue. We're focusing on bars and restaurants. You happen to be a restaurant owner. This would be a great way to get your name out there. And also, it's a college newspaper. So you're focusing specifically on college students that like to eat out, right? So those are all great answers. I agree, it's an ethical issue. I don't think I could just outright lie, no, but I agree with the ideas of it's limited and it's special and contacting the customer again. That's what I've learned a lot in sales is that sometimes you cannot take that first maybe or that first no. It's important to build the relationship and make that call again or send that email again or maybe make that social network posting again on the Facebook page, on Twitter, wherever it happens to be, because we know in our line of work, social networking is very important to us. I never thought that as a teacher, remember, I come from back in the day when I was considered a home ec teacher. Could I have pictured that I would use social networking to communicate with my students or to move my program? Not at all. But you got to be open to that change. Good answers on the ethical dilemma. Okay, last slide, guys. This is our first week of class. Most of you are pros at this already. You've been in several classes. You understand due dates are important. Keeping up with the work is important. Be sure you get those quizzes taken before Saturday at midnight. And one of the most important things is staying in contact with me. Send me an email. Things are going to come up in life. We're going to have accidents. We're going to have things happen that may derail us for a moment, but I don't want you to just drop out of sight. I want you to know that I'm here for you, and I want to know if there's a big issue that's causing you to miss due dates, or you're having problems with an assignment, you just need a little extra help. I'd love to help you out. So does anybody have any questions right now? Not so far? No, no, no. I love those answers. That's great. That tells me that you're feeling pretty solid, right? Not that you can think of right now. Okay. Okay, great. And Chris, are you good? No for Gal as well? Okay, well, great. If there are no questions, guys, you're welcome to go on about your day. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you again next Wednesday at 1 p.m. for our live lecture. Thanks for being here, because you now do not have to do that summary, right? You've completed an assignment just by being here. Okay, great. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your day. Oh, who's Chris?